Let's talk about drawing a head from a 3/4 view. This is probably the view that you're going to get the most often. Not perfectly straightforward and not a perfect profile. So when we draw a head from 3/4 view, it's really important to keep dimension on your mind, okay? So think about a box. Let's first talk about an impossible box, okay? We know from how we draw our still lives that it is actually impossible for this box to exist in 3 dimensions unless it's like a forced perspective. So straight horizontal lines are not possible when you can see more than one side of a box. So when we draw a head from a 3/4 view, the box will be made up of diagonals and verticals, right? So we can see the top of the box, we can see 2 sides of the box, and there are no horizontal lines. Okay, so if I'm gonna gesture a human head from a 3/4 view, kind of similar to how I was gesturing the profile view, but notice that this oval is a lot wider, okay? This is the head, the face, right? Keep it soft. Now, looking at this box, right, look at the direction the diagonals are going in. Think about those 2 horizontal lines that we had when we talked about the front of the face. They're going to be diagonal now, right? So that brow ridge and that malar bone guarding the eyes like a football helmet, right? Let's make this space a little bigger. Okay, so if the malar bone and the brow ridge are diagonal, look, we get a corner of our malar bone that turns into the zygomatic arch and the temple, right, going back towards the back of the head. So this is our major edge, right, that we talk about when we do our bag self-portraits. So we have our nasal passage. Switch to a pencil. It's important that if you have a major edge to the head, you also have a major edge to the nose. The nose is so often drawn as a profile when there's a 3/4 view of the head. This is incorrect. We need to draw the nose dimensionally as well, like a wedge with its own major edge, right? That's the major edge of this shape, that's the major edge of this shape, this is the major edge of that shape, okay? It's the edge that's closest to you, that vertical line, okay? Now, same thing as any other portrait. Does the mouth line up with the center of the eyes? You can ask that question. Am I making the tear duct too close and not close enough to that top of the nostril? Don't exaggerate this distance, right? Or else it'll look like a cartoon. Make sure that you're not skipping equal distances, right? I wouldn't want the same distance from the base of the nose to the mouth to be where the chin is. One is probably longer than the other. Ask those kinds of questions. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Right? I don't have a model, but I'm just drawing out of my imagination. Okay. That jawbone going back. That little mastoid process that is actually kind of covered up by the ear. Right? Let's make the ear a little lower. So we can kind of imagine it lining up with the eyes and the mouth. Okay. Okay, and if the sternum's over here, if there's some clavicles over here, we know that sternomastoid is there. Since it's a 3/4, I'm not gonna see as much of the other side, right? Okay. So, notice all this diagonal information. Even the nose, right? It switches direction. Just like this box, right? If I had that nose on this box, it would make sense. It's a wedge coming off of a block. So think about your portraits this way. You don't have to draw in this like fast gestural way that I'm doing just as a form of communication. Take your time with it, but you can always use something like this as a gesture, as long as it's willow, and then come in with your more permanent pencil and carefully contour on top. Okay, so these are some things to keep in mind when you're drawing ahead from a 3/4 view.